All right, let's dive into a classic Buddhist text called the宗Lu. You could translate it as the record of the mirror of essence. And, it gets right to the heart of a puzzle that, well, anyone who's ever tried to just sit and quiet their mind is going to recognize immediately.
I mean, have you ever noticed this? 1 minute, you feel totally calm, your mind is crystal clear. And then boom, the next, it's just this chaotic storm of thoughts, anxieties, distractions. It's like, where did that come from? That is the core question, the central tension that the宗Lu really wants to unravel for us.
And this, right here, this leads us to a huge philosophical problem. See, Buddhist philosophy often talks about our true mind, this idea that our fundamental nature is inherently pure, totally clear, and unchanging. So, if that's true, where on earth do all these messy, confusing, illusory thoughts come from? It doesn't make sense, right? How can this perfectly pure source produce so much noise?
The text itself it frames this so beautifully. It basically says, look, at our core, our essence, we all share this pure, unborn nature. Sages, regular folks like you and me, we're the same, deep down. So, if that's the case, why do we get so tangled up in delusion? It's a genuine paradox, and it's what we're here to explore.
Okay, so here's the first major insight the宗Lu gives us, and it's a big one. It says the nature of your mind, the essence of it, never actually gets corrupted, but its appearance can change. And that change, it all comes down to conditions. And to explain this, the text uses a couple of absolutely brilliant analogies. Let's check them out.
Okay, first up, think of your mind like a glass of water. Now, the water itself, its essential waterness, that never changes. But, if you drop in a purifying pearl, the water becomes clear. If you stir in some dust, it gets all murky. The substance, the H2O, is exactly the same. It's the conditions that change how it looks.
Or how about this one? Think of the sky. The sky itself isn't fundamentally changed by a cloudy day, is it? It doesn't become a cloudy sky in its essence. No, it's still the same vast, open, clear sky. It's just temporarily hidden by clouds. The clouds always pass, but the sky always remains.
So this is getting interesting, right? The big takeaway here is that the mind isn't like one thing that gets kicked out and replaced by another. It's not the true mind versus illusory thoughts in some epic battle. No, the truth is they are deeply, fundamentally interconnected. They're two sides of the same coin.
The text has a specific word for this: interpenetration. It's a cool concept. It basically means that the true and the illusory are totally inseparable. They soak into each other. You can't have one without the other. So an illusory thought isn't your enemy. It's just the true mind showing up or manifesting under certain conditions. And the true mind, that's the very stuff that thought is made of. And this brings us to probably the most famous analogy in the whole text. Listen to this. The wave is entirely water. The water is entirely the wave. Wow. Think about that. A wave isn't something separate from the ocean. A wave is the ocean, just, in a temporary, moving form. You can't separate the water from the wave. Their wet nature is exactly the same.
Here's another great one. It's like gold and a finger ring. A goldsmith can take a lump of gold and shape it into a beautiful ring, but the essence is still gold. You can melt that ring right back down, and the substance hasn't changed one bit. The form, the ring, is temporary. The essence, the gold, is what remains.
Okay, so let's connect this to a couple of the more technical Buddhist terms you'll find in the text. There's something called the alivijjana, or the mind store consciousness. You can just think of this as the source of our thoughts and habits. It's the wave or the ring. It's the form things take. But the essence of that very same consciousness is the tathagata garbha, which is our pure inherent Buddha nature. And that's the water or the gold. See? They are not two separate things. They're just different ways of looking at the same reality.
All right, so this is the real game changer. This is the crucial points. If our thoughts are just the true mind in motion, well then you don't need to fight them. You don't have to destroy them. This whole understanding leads to a very specific kind of practice, a path to clarity that has nothing to do with battling your own mind.
The text says it so simply. Bondage is from the mind, release is from the mind. The problem and the solution are in the exact same place. So the essential technique isn't about getting rid of your thoughts. It's just to observe the mind, to watch where they come from and understand their source. So what does that look like in practice? Well, here's the path. Step 1. You just turn your attention inward. You start to observe the source of your thoughts. Step 2. As you watch, you start to realize, hey,
These thoughts are just like the waves. They arise because of certain conditions, and then they fall away. They don't have any solid, independent substance. And step 3, when you really, truly see them for what they are, their power just dissolves. It's like watching a wave recede right back into the ocean. And what's left behind? Clarity.
And this all brings us right back around to the title of the text itself,宗镜录, the record of the mirror of essence. What is the mirror? Your mind is the mirror. The whole practice isn't about trying to build a new mirror, it's about realizing the perfect one that's already there, just, maybe covered up by a little bit of dust.
And this really is the final, most powerful insight. The goal is not to stop thoughts. The goal is to see that they were never really born as separate, solid things to begin with. And that very act of seeing, that realization, that is the unmoving, clear, true mind. There's nothing else you need to go out and find.
So I'll leave you with this to think about. The next time a strong thought or a powerful emotion comes up, what are you going to see? Are you going to get caught up in the temporary, crashing wave? Or will you be able to take a breath and maybe, just maybe, recognize the vast, timeless water that is its real essence?